Hey, it is February, and I promised you that we would be back at Life After High School graduation. And yes, I know you're all keeping score, but I promised that we would have somebody to talk more about tax returns. And it didn't work. Why? Because they're doing tax returns right now and they can't come along. But this is probably just and more important than some of the other topics anyway. We talked about telemedicine and I gave you the answer. I don't know. And so I've been lucky enough to recruit, a good friend, Dr. Doug. Oh, I can't say doctor.
No.
He's a registered nurse, but Doug Mayo, who teaches classes here at Alpena Community College. And when we began talking about it, we decided that there's a lot of different areas of telemedicine, but the focus that you guys wanted is how do you get involved? What's the starting parts? And what do you need to do to maybe get an appointment in telemedicine? So Doug, a little bit with those startup questions.
Okay, so my name's Doug. I am a faculty for the nursing department here at ACC, Oscoda, and Alpena. When Marv asked me about telemed, I was like, wow, which piece, Marv? Because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of pieces to telemed. I'll start off with just a couple of little pieces. We have, in the medical field, we use different parts. We have what we call synchronous, is when you meet directly with a provider on the phone or by video chat, like Zoom.
Okay.
These are some of the platforms we use. Basically, you're going to talk to your provider. They have access to all of your charting and everything if you're going through your place. They can see you, they can make prescriptions, they can do just about anything they can do at a regular appointment. We have what's called asynchronous, which is a lot of times used. I'll give you the best, for instance, that I've seen this is using x-rays. We take x-rays at the hospital, there's nobody there to read them. So they put them out to different services like Nighthawk is one. There's a couple of other ones too, where they're put out into a queue for radiologists that are sitting at home to read. So they go on and read them at their leisure. Then they write up their report. They send it back to the people who took it. So it's read that way. Radiology is a very expensive profession. So It's a really, really viable alternative. We have what's called electronic patient management, which is when you say have a condition like high blood pressure and you want to get it monitored. What they do is they provide you with a cuff, a blood pressure cuff that connects to your computer so that when you take your blood pressure, it actually gives readings and they can see the readings for the last little bit. So this is a type of patient management.
So you guys, you see that there's all kinds of different variations and they can be very specific. Does it all start, Doug, by just arranging it with your regular doc, and he or she has to be participating in a telemedicine arrangement, right?
That is true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You have to contact if you went through Alcona Health Center. They do telemed appointments through Alcona Health Center. Okay. To my knowledge, I believe they do. You just have to set up your appointment with them to do a telemed. You can be seen over the internet, and the only thing they can't do is labs, but they can order them. You can go in and have the labs done at the hospital or wherever, or even at the clinic. That way you have a head start on what you need. And once those labs come back, everything's taken care of. But
so if you're feeling down and out and a little poorly, the students could call their regular doctor's office and say, I'm here at Saginaw Valley, Central Michigan, whatever, and I would like to do a telemedicine arrangement.
Yeah, you could call and see if they're going to be doing telemed appointments.
Okay.
Just make that phone call to the main line and they'll let you know if there's anybody doing telemed, because sometimes it's just one doc that's doing telemed.
Okay.
Very, very simple. They would give you a time that they would be available. You just go online and treat it just like a regular doctor's appointment without leaving the house.
Is there a time limit? Now, this has got to be only 10 minutes. Is it anything like that?
No. Most of the time they're pretty quick because it's going to deal with whatever problem's going on. So if you say you feel like you've got a sore throat, potentially have strep, they're going to run you through the workup and and hopefully get you to a point where they can get you in, get some testing done and go from there. So though your lab may not be virtual, you're going to have to go somewhere to have those done.
Sure.
They can be ordered and ready to go so that all you have to do is go in, get those taken and.
So I need some kind of penicillin, that's what the decision, can they say, or how does that happen to get medicine then?
So what they would do is they would, if they thought, yeah, okay, we need to do a prescription, they would just find out what pharmacy you use.
Okay.
Or what pharmacy's close by. And typically they would just call the prescription in. Most prescriptions are done by phone now anyway. There's very little written prescription out there, so.
So you're in rural Michigan and it's growing in popularity, is it?
Telemedicine?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, everything from general provider, mental health has really made some huge strides with
sure.
mental health and telemed have really come a long way together, and they really that is a field that is really booming right now with telemedicine. But regular providers, all that, yeah, we see a lot of that still. So yeah.
So would you say that right now it is the older generations that's taking advantage of this, or would you say it's younger people?
It's most of the time you're going to find it's going to be Gen X like myself.
Okay.
Basically on through to millennials, we see a lot of. But for right now, elderly people don't like to use the internet as much. So that is a limitation there. But as far as anybody who's got any sort of savvy or anything, it's completely secure. It's completely safe to use. Your data's not just floating out there in space. As much as your doctor's office is secure, the lines.
You must be almost looking at my list of questions, Doug, because that was the next time. So the upside is that, travel time, sitting in the waiting room, all that stuff kind of goes away with telemedicine. But what's the downside? Is there an accuracy thing? Do insurance companies have a problem? Anything like that?
Insurance companies like it because it's inexpensive. So they really like that. The downside of it is that all the information that's given is subjective. You're telling somebody how you feel or what's going on. Until they can quantify with labs, it's all subjective information. It's given by what you're reporting. So the limitation is in communication, how well you communicate with your doctor and can make your needs known. That's really the limitation at that point.
Okay. I mean, and that kind of makes sense because they can't put the scope on you, look in, they expect you. So as people prep for their first, second, telemedicine time, what kinds of things should they maybe have made some notes about prior to going on the big screen?
Yeah, if we're talking, if you're not feeling well, make sure have you been nauseous? Have you been vomiting? What is your temperature? You may want to feel your heart rate and give account for that. Things like that. Things that we can tell the doc, hey, I don't feel good. My heart's kind of racing. I've had an upset stomach. I've vomited a couple of times. These are all things that'll help them pinpoint a little bit better where we are. The more information you can give, the more robust your visit's going to be.
Okay. I mean, so you got to do your homework. Yeah. That's what we're talking about too. Don't expect the doc to read your mind, even though on telemedicine, who knows anymore? But I got to stay serious because this is serious. So last question, sir, do specialists get involved in telemedicine, or is it mostly general medicine visits?
So if things that are happening now, we're actually starting to see physical therapy after like a hip replacement or something. They're actually doing physical therapy via telemed now.
Okay.
We see, I'll give you for instance, with the hospital, if somebody comes in with a stroke or a potential stroke, we do a telemed visit with U of M Neurology. U of M Neurology is going to be on board. They're going to look at all of the pictures and everything. So this is a very specialized use. But the outcomes are very good because if somebody is having a stroke, we don't have a neurologist in Alpena right now that can actually read these films. So it's very fast, it's very efficient. We can actually get involved much quicker with better outcomes because we actually are using telemedicine with a really good neurology department.
So what that says is you might be physically standing right next to me as the patient,
Yeah.
and I, am having heart problems, whatever, and you dial in
Yeah. I dial in a
a
telemedicine.
specialist to help in the whole prognosis or whatever, right?
And I would stand there as a nurse. If the doc needed me to do any sort of EKG, if it was cardiac, anything
Sure.
like that, I would be the one hooking that up. So we would still have a specialist on board, but it would all be done over telemed with
And they
me.
might be in Ann Arbor or
That's
wherever.
Very true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very true.
Well, our 10 minutes is up, you guys, and I'm actually glad that the tax return people couldn't make it because we wanted to get to this, Doug, as time has gone on and we've talked about all kinds of different topics. Telemedicine is right there. It's right now. And you young people probably will feel more comfortable with it than I will. Okay, I know. But Doug, thanks for stopping by and sharing this. It's not as hard as it feels, on the front end, but it is the future. And so hopefully you got your questions answered. We'll be back in March for the next topic. I have it in mind, but I'll save it till then and we'll talk later. Thanks for tuning in.